Hi, doll. How are you? Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to another time and connection with me, your girl Hope Shantae, on the pink mic. And another time to just catch up, chop it up, and keep it real about what's really going on in our day to day and what our journey to leveling up is looking like. So last week, you guys, I started an intro video first and foremost when my first episode being recorded on StreamYard, and it was okay. But I feel like this one is going to be a little bit better. So I'm super, super stoked. Okay. So I would love all the feedback. But, anyways, um, last week we started our intro to imposter syndrome. Um, I am on this journey. I am new to another state. I am newly an empty nester. I am like every area of my life, I have given myself full autonomy and full permission to hit reset and start fresh. Emotional, social, mental, physical, spiritual, financial, all of the levels. And with that is coming some moments of me suffering and struggling with imposter syndrome. I've been doing a lot of research around imposter syndrome, and I'm actually getting more commentary and info around imposter syndrome not being really a thing, but I'm going to actually maybe put a pin in that for next week because I kind of want to dive into that to really dive into their mindset and to decide whether or not I believe it. So I believe the theory that imposter syndrome is not a thing. But anyways, I very much feel like that I am in a journey to tackle my mindset and tackle my beliefs, how I'm truly feeling, as opposed to how I feel I should be feeling, but actually um, being authentic with myself and saying, okay, you say you want to feel this way about this thing, but that's not actually how you're feeling. Why aren't you feeling that way? And how can we move forward in that area? What can we do to move forward in that area so that I become stronger, clearer, wiser, understand myself, all of the things, and also you too, right? And so today's subject is last week it was the intro to imposter syndrome. This week's subject is journaling your way out of imposter syndrome. Why do I want to journal my way out of imposter syndrome? I am very much a words girl. I love words. Words are magical. To me, if when you take them seriously, they can really help define your journey. A lot of times, we are seeing things away, hearing things away, and even feeling certain things, but we're not quite clear of what those feelings are. It's when you're clear about what those feelings are and you can pinpoint them clearly and concisely. You can see the picture and you could also see the solution if in fact it's a problem. Are you understand that? And so one thing I want to do is dive into the different forms of imposter syndrome. As far as I have found, there are 5. So today we are actually going to touch on 2 of them. Now, I before I got onto YouTube and started my journey of loving myself out loud, I'll say. I was very intrigued by others who had started their journey and they were loving themselves out loud. That's how I That's how I see things and see people. YouTube channels, I'm very much attracted to those channels that are very transparent, um, and they are willing to show up and be transparent about where they are in their lives and how they feel about where they are and what they're willing to do to get somewhere else. And I think that's a form of love. The way that I show up in people's lives, you guys, and this is just a quick diversion, I show up with the mindset and the desire to serve. I show up with the desire to serve. And the only way that I can serve is when I get to learn you, learn your habits, learn your needs, and then I am able to um, properly uh, decide how I can naturally serve you based on what you need. And I can only know what you need when I'm able to hear it from you and also like see it in real time, right? And so um, I have been watching a lot of channels. One of the channels that I fell in love with deeply was I don't know if you guys know, but Kev on Stage, he is an phenomenal comedian, phenomenal. He's so funny. He's so relatable. He's so dope. He has had a lot of amazing wins. And because he's been so transparent on his journey, I too feel like I've had wins through him. We are both African American. You know, we both come from a churchy Christian background. And the way he expresses his upbringing very much aligns with the way I was brought up. And so I just feel like, oh, okay, I love it. I love to see people who are not the same, but have similar backgrounds. It just gives me courage to press forward and step out on faith and try things and step towards big goals. Big goals. You guys, I have big goals. And so for him to have such big goals and he is really pressing to achieve them is so stellar. Okay. So following Kev on Stage, he introduced his beautiful, illustrious, chocolate, sexy wife, Mrs. Kev on Stage. And I fell in love with her because she is very much a words girl too. And so when she would go out of her way to define words and be clear about what she was talking about, it just, I mean, I tuned in. There is quite a few of her videos that I actually screen recorded and saved to my phone so that I can watch it randomly at times when I needed it the most. And so because of videos like that, I just was like, I too want to show up in the world as a safe space and a voice that you can trust. Like, I want to show up and be transparent so that when you two are having your moments, your seasons, because sometimes, baby, it's not a day and the show ain't no hour. Sometimes it's a whole season. When you show up with your seasons, you can trust to pull up my content and know that I am being transparent and I am being very authentic about where I am and where I came from and how I got here. And because it makes you feel like you are more human and not alone. And that is the goal. The goal is to not feel like you're an alien and like what you're going through is so crazy and you're such an isolated space, but you're not. We are more alike than not. Fast forward. Um, I am having to learn me all over again, even in ways that I did not anticipate. And so I feel like I have been on a journey of combating my imposter syndrome. And so I was going back through YouTube and finding all kind of videos. And I remember watching an episode of Imposter Syndrome with Kev on Stage, Mrs. Kev on Stage, and Joshy Gons. I feel like Joshy is so stinking cute, but that's another story for another day. Anyways, they brought on guest Kevon Lewis or Stevon Lewis, forgive me, Stevon. I'm sorry, Stevon Lewis, Lewis. I actually DM'd him on Instagram and asked if he had any openings for any new clients. And I think that what I needed, it didn't align with what he was working on. So he referred me to Dr. Glenna, who is located in Los Angeles. She is the most amazing human ever. Anyways, moving into this video, you guys, I just am like, I rewatched that video and I just got so many amazing nuggets that aligned with my notes for this video. So this is really far into the show. Okay. Now, mind you, I am week 2. Okay. On StreamYard. And so instead of me having to port my video out to CapCut, I am about to run my intro video, you guys, and then we about to get into it. Are you ready? Okay, you guys, because this is like, I'm going to figure this out. I promise. I swear I am. Okay. How do I do it, you guys? Okay, yeah, I don't even know if I'm going to do it. I don't know if I can do it. I had all the videos set up and then they're not doing it. All of that. It'll get cleaner. It'll get smoother. I swear. I swear. I swear. I swear. Anyways, okay, you guys. So one of the let me see. Actually, I don't even want the video slides. I actually created a PowerPoint because I want to be very clear about what we're going over. Okay. So initially, I kind of was like, oh, this is corny. A lot of people have already, touched on this subject and things of that nature, but it's really, 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 really important. Everyone has their cycles and their seasons, and I do hope that any and everyone who is watching this, you know, this really resonates with you in this time in 2024. Here we are, May 27th, 2024. And, it's never too late for you to learn and grow and become better. And I just want to kind of just jump in on this imposter syndrome because it is really resonating with where I am in this time in my life. So let's get straight to it, you guys. Okay, so imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite being a high performing in external, that's a big deal, objective ways. Your metric bar is ever moving. That's pretty amazing, you guys. And so the imposter syndrome, if you ask me, the imposter syndrome is let me see if I can change this. There we go. There we go. Ooh, that was even better. The imposter syndrome is it feels like it's more of something within. It maybe there may be some people that you may come across and they may feel like they can diagnose you. I'll actually be willing to do the research around that. But I feel like imposter syndrome is an internal emotion, feeling, thought, belief. Again, it says imposter syndrome is a condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally, despite high performing in external objective ways. Your metric bar is ever moving. And so internally, you're telling yourself that, dang, I haven't done this, I haven't done that. Well, the people around you will be like, wow, you are really amazing. You really did well with that. You're really successful in this area, but you're telling yourself internally that you are not. And so instead of, I want the, it's pretty straightforward, but I, again, am a words girl. So I like to refer to Webster Dictionary and refer to definitions before I move forward. So one of the words that I wanted to define is anxious. Anxious, experiencing worry, unease, or nervousness, typically about an imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. Now, let me go back really quickly. You guys, imposter syndrome, it says imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experience success internally. Okay? And going back to anxious, anxious experience is a feeling of worry, unease, and nervousness. So when I said that I feel like imposter syndrome can be something that we place on ourselves and it's not a medical diagnosis, I truly believe that. Typically about imminent event or something with an uncertain outcome. And so when we can't confirm that things are going to go exactly right, but it's important to us, we start to put a lot of pressure on ourselves. Okay. Another word that I thought was just as important to define is success. Success is a relative term. If you achieve what you want to and are happy, then I think that is success. Another word in the definition of imposter syndrome that is something that comes from within. Success is, well, okay, so that's not the Webster's dictionary, but what I wanted to do, I wanted to pull up the layman's term for success. Success is a relative term. If you achieve what you want to and are happy, then that is success. Okay. And so I also want you to put a pin in this because this word success is going to be important. Imagine two twins, both of them accomplished the same test, you know what I mean, and got the same score, and one feels really great about it, and the other one doesn't feel as great about it. They felt like they could have done better. Is one right over the other? No, it's all about perspective, and it's all about how you set the bar, um, set the stage based on what you deem success is. Okay. I really love defining the words because I want us to be clear about the journey that we're taking with defining imposter syndrome and the different types. So today we're going to define two of the forms of imposter syndrome. Okay, you guys. The first form of imposter syndrome is the perfectionist. The perfectionist imposter syndrome. This type of imposter syndrome involves believing that unless you are absolutely perfect, you could have done better. You feel like an imposter because your perfectionistic traits, excuse me, make you believe that you're not as good as others might think you are. Internal. You're thinking for other people. I am notorious for it, by the way. Some of the traits of the perfectionist: micromanaging people. Is it you? Do you be micromanaging people? Micromanagement, difficulty delegating. Do you want to do everything yourself? Is it hard for you to say, can you help me? Is it hard for you to accept when people walk up to you and say, can I help you? And you say no? Okay. Set really high bars. You get stuck on the how as opposed to the progress. I was like gagging when I was watching this video with Dr. Kevon Stevon. Please forgive me. It's not Kevon. It's Stevon, Stevon. Dr. Stevon Lewis, Mrs. Kevon Sage, Joshi, and Mr. Kevon Sage. And so I was really gagging on their input of how this may apply to any of their lives because it was so relatable. And I actually had to think about myself, like micromanage. I would say I don't micromanage, but the only reason I don't micromanage is because I don't delegate. I don't like delegating stuff to people. It I I don't I have this huge pet peeve of my time being wasted. I do not like my time wasted. And so if I feel like I can get this done without you, I'm going to get it done without you. Why? Because I can gauge how long it's going to take me to do it. And I can also um, do other things without having to take in other people's account, other people's time. Sometimes I'm doing something, and right in that moment, I may be willing to do it right then and there and knock it out and just be done. And there's other times I know I can do it and I know I can meet the deadline, but I don't feel like doing it in that moment. But when I delegate it to others, I then I have to be more thoughtful of other people. And then I also have to take in patience and added patience in case you maybe are not seeing the vision or things of that nature. And long story short, I just would rather do it myself so that I can say that it's done, be clear that it was done the way it was supposed to be because I did it. And because also I know that when I am leading a project or a goal, if someone that is supporting me maybe doesn't hit the mark, it falls back on me. And I don't want no feedback about what didn't go right. I don't want no feedback. I don't want no feedback. I just want you to be able to say, oh, this was great. This, I like this a lot. Let's keep going. But I do know that the point and purpose of getting things done is not only for me, but it's for others. I truly feel deeply that you are to each one teach one. And I take that very seriously. Um, but I don't know. I guess I should do better and look for more opportunities to for each one teach one, as opposed to it being an isolated project for people to come and be taught or for me to teach people about certain things. I should always be open to allowing others to show up and glean and grow because I always want that for myself. So, I'll work on that. I really am excited to hear about how the perfectionist may the perfection imposter syndrome, the perfectionist, those characteristics may affect you, plague you, bother you, how you deal with other people in your circle who are that, and how you deal with them. Like, I really want to know more. So I would love to see what you're going to put in the comments because I'm excited. Let me see. Set really high bars. I won't say that that's something that I deal with. I definitely am clear that I like to be clear that I've done what I was supposed to do, so that whoever needed it done feels glad that I was a part of the project because it's like, oh, she showed up, she did her part. That part I'm cool with. But I do understand that there are some people who really set the bar really high. And it kind of just depends on the project. So that's not a regular trait of mine. A day to day get stuck on the how as opposed to the progress. That part is also not me. The progress, me being able to say that it's finished is the goal. And I don't skip steps because, again, when you come behind me, I want to say that it got done. And you can't tell me nothing about it because it got done. So I do know there's some that focus on the progress versus the process. So I wonder if that how that was for you. Is that something that you deal with? Do you know someone who does that? And we will move on. Okay. So, as you guys know, the title is Journal Your Way Out of Imposter Syndrome. And so we're going to move on to how to journal our way out of it. Okay, next example. Real time examples. You have to do everything to a high standard. If anything isn't perfect, it's not worth being proud of. Working for people in the past that have had very high standards, it caused a lot of stress and anxiety for me. Um, because you could see that they very much had that high standard for themselves, and it's going to be even worse for the standard they have for others around them, and it just was not a healthy work environment. Another example, you get a review. Oh, another example, you get a review at your job, and you don't exceed your employer's expectations. You guys know when there's like below average, average, met expectations, exceeded expectations. And typically you have to at least meet all of the expectations in order to receive that raise. And a lot more times than not, this personality trait, the perfectionist wants to exceed in every area, or they want to get 100 on all of their tests, or get that perfect 4.0 or 4.0 and above, and things of that nature. And if they don't, they just don't feel like they were good enough. I can imagine that personalities like that, they start with something or someone around you, building that level of anxiety in you, and then you just picked it up and ran with it. Okay. I feel strongly that there is the circle that we run in, that cultivates such traits, and we pick it up because it feels like second nature, because that's what all we've seen, heard, or known. And so, yeah, that definitely, I could imagine. I couldn't imagine that being a very easygoing life, maybe. Um, Anyways, moving on. The journal prompt. Um, Journaling to me is very sacred, and it's a place for you to be extremely transparent with yourself. I always say to my daughter and other people, like, if you're not going to be willing to be honest with yourself, you're definitely not going to be honest with others. There's always going to be amount of uh, lie in your statements. Even if it's mostly true, you're not being completely transparent for one reason or another. And so, going back to, you guys remember, I read the definition of success, based on the Webster Dictionary. This is where you meet up with you. What is your definition of success? Have you even thought of that about that before? Everyone is going to have their own definition of success, and that is perfectly fine. There is a Webster dictionary definition, and there is going to be yours, how you interpret it. And yeah, so what is your definition of success? I feel like my definition of success is accomplishing something in a way where I don't have to double back and keep going back and making adjustments, but it gave me the results that I needed it to give, so that it could take me to the next step, in my goal or in my journey or in my life. That's what I deem success to be. Um, what is the next journal prompt is, what successes have you experienced in the past 12 months? Um, Once you are able to define what your definition of success is, and this is for people who um, struggle with the perfectionist mindset, define what you deem success is, and then go back. I mean, not even your whole life, just the last 12 months. And I am sure that you are going to have a ton of successes in the last 12 months, and that will help combat the thought of you struggling with this perfectionist syndrome. As a matter of fact, every time you even have those moments where you're really beating yourself up about what you have done or haven't done and really struggling with that mindset of was it perfect or not? Because the imposter syndrome, you guys, let me go back. Sorry, I'm going to slide back to imposter syndrome definition. Imposter syndrome is the condition of feeling anxious and not experiencing success internally. So if it's internal, you need to be defining what success is. This is internal. This is an internal battle. This is an internal conversation that you need to have with yourself. Okay? Um, so the question two was success. What successes have you experienced in the past 12 months? I really want you to take your time and think about all the successes, big and small. Okay. Um, Journal prompt number three. Do I believe in perfection? Do you believe in perfection? Do you? Why? Yes or no? Matter of fact, also define what you deem perfection is, and then define do you believe in it once you define it. If so, what is, oh, listen, I didn't I already jumped the gun. If so, what is my definition of perfection? Has any outside influences affected my definition of perfection? Is it serving me? Ooh, that was good. What is your definition of perfection? And is it serving you? This journal is going to be a good, good, good journal prompt. This, you may have to come back to this for a few days because this is definitely important. You need to flush this out to the letter. To the letter. You need to be thoughtful of what success is, what perfection is, who introduced this to you in the first place. And then the last, and who, after you define who introduced it to you, has it served them? Last prompt, do I focus more on the process or the progress? This is also another important thing. What do you focus more on, the process or the progress, and why? You guys, I think I would definitely, let me see. Look, I'm posing. You guys should really journal. I mean, screenshot this journal prompt because this is important for you to come back to. Don't rush yourself on these answers. Really knock it out in a way that is going to make you feel satisfied when you close that journal. Okay. I actually think this is going to be a great outro. I thought I was going to do two tonight, but we are inching in on 33 minutes, you guys. I actually enjoyed this one more than not, but we're going to end this journal prompt on are you a perfectionist? And I really, really, really look forward to next week with you guys. I think next week is going to be on the soloist. You guys, I genuinely enjoyed tonight. I hope to see you next week. I'm going to do my best to kind of like be more creative in my presentations. I just be so excited about these subjects that I just can't even just I can't even get through without stuttering because I have so many amazing thoughts going through my head. But thank you for sticking through with me, and I will see you guys next week. Bye.